Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Movie Canon. I'm Giovanni. We are live. We are live right now, and hopefully, you guys can hear me. If there's anyone at all in the chat, just let me know that you can hear us and that the image is just fine here. For this Met Report episode, I'm being joined by my brother Matthew,
Hello.
and there's a few things that we're going to talk about here today. So, the main thing that we will be discussing today is we are doing a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 spoiler review. So, again, guys, this is a spoiler review. This will be towards the end of the stream, though. So, you can still watch the other topics before the actual review. So that you don't get spoiled or anything like that. So that's one of the things that we'll be talking about here today. The other thing is there's reports that Karl Urban is in talks to play Johnny Cage in the new Mortal Kombat film. So we're going to talk about that for a little bit. We have a Birdie Moon saying it's fine. Okay, great, perfect. Thank you so much. Let's see. The other thing that we're going to talk about here is that there's also a few Hot Toys announcements that we will be talking about today. So we have Groot is just one of them from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So in our Figures Talk segment within this Met Report episode, we will be talking about this one and a couple other Hot Toys today here. So again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. This is the Met Report, a show about movies, entertainment, and television news. That's where we get the MET. And my brother Matthew is joining us today. So again, the spoiler review for Guardians is at the end. So you don't have to worry about spoilers right now. So let's go ahead and actually, let me do this here. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, The Movie Canon, go ahead and do that. We do a lot of giveaways and future content that we'll be presenting here. So go ahead and subscribe here, and we'll greatly appreciate it. All right. So the first thing that we're going to talk about here today is the information about the Mortal Kombat 2 news. So let's see here. So I mentioned this earlier that there's a casting report of Karl Urban who plays is it Butcher? Butcher
Yes.
from The Boys. And then Matthew, you're a big fan of The Boys, right, Matthew?
Yeah,
The show.
I love the Boys TV show.
Yeah, so he's really good in that role. He's kind of like he usually plays a lot of rough around the edges type of character, and he's definitely that in The Boys. So it looks like they're gonna cast him as Johnny Cage. Now, the person that you see here on the screen is a character called Cole Young, and he was in the Mortal Kombat 2021 movie that came out on. They dropped it on HBO Max, and then they actually released it in theaters. This Cole Young character, is one that they made up. So this is not a character that was part of the video game. When I first saw this character in the trailer, for a split second I thought it might have been Johnny Cage, because there's a lot of things like the look is kind of like Johnny Cage, so I kind of thought that maybe it was him, and it turned out that it actually wasn't him. And since Johnny Cage is my favorite character in Mortal Kombat, it's the main character that I would use, that I would play. I was really wanting to see Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat movie that came out in 2021. So this guy is not Johnny Cage, as I already mentioned here. So at the end of Mortal Kombat 2021, they did a little tease that Johnny Cage will be back, or actually will appear in Mortal Kombat 2. So there was a lot of question as to whether if even they were going to make another Mortal Kombat movie, because I wasn't sure about the box office, because again it came out during that time where they dropped it on HBO Max and in the theaters, so the box office was going to be a little sketchy. But it looks like, yeah, it did well enough that they're making another movie. So Matthew, have you ever seen any Mortal Kombat movie at all?
I've seen the original Mortal Kombat movie probably like 5 times.
You,
Not on purpose, but it just happened to see it
the
five times.
the 1995
Yeah.
movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the 1995 movie. Now that movie I actually watched quite a bit. So this is actually a little scene here from that movie, 1995. This is Johnny Cage. I saw this movie in theaters. I forgot who I watched it with. I think I watched it with one of my aunts, and it was great. I was a huge Mortal Kombat fan. I was a huge fan of Mortal Kombat 2 that came out in the early 90s. So then that game came out, and then this movie came out in 1995. So of course I was obsessed with this movie. And then they released a few other Mortal Kombat games, and this one right here that you see, I think that's from Mortal Kombat 11.
It is.
And I like Mortal Kombat 9 of the newer MK games, but this one um, the MK9 game uh, with Johnny Cage and all the other characters. That was the better one. But I was a bigger fan of MK2, and now they're making this Mortal Kombat 2 film, and it looks like they have cast Karl Urban. Now, as far as would he be my first choice to play Johnny Cage? No, he would not be my first choice, but he is a very good actor, and I mean, I think he's gonna get away from this look. Maybe I don't know if he's gonna shave or I don't know, but I'm sure he has some kind of a contract with the
WB.
boys, so he may have to keep this look. But I think he'll be fine. Like I said, he wasn't my first choice to play Johnny Cage, but obviously he's going to be an older Johnny Cage. And then my theory is that then maybe they're going to an older Johnny Cage route is because of this character here that I mentioned earlier, Cole Young, which kind of looks like Johnny Cage and Luke Kang together, like a mixed character. So I think that if they got like a younger looking Johnny Cage like we saw in the original games, then it would have been too similar to the main character, the invented, made up character. So I think maybe that's why they went this route. Like I said, Carl Urban's a good actor, so I think he's fine. I'm not entirely complaining about it, but yeah, he wouldn't be my first choice, but should be interesting to see how that turns out. And then Matthew, what are your thoughts on Carl Urban's possibly being the new Johnny Cage?
When I first saw a post for this, I thought it was a joke, but I honestly, I think he'll be fine. Like he's a good actor. He just obviously like I probably wouldn't be used to him in a role that's more like a charismatic guy, because like you said, he plays a rough around the edges kind of dude. But I think he'll be able to be fine. He just needs to change his look up for the role. But he definitely would have been my first pick either, or in my top five.
Yeah. He definitely wouldn't have been in my top five at all. I would have thought of other actors or whatever the case might be. Um, I heard a lot that they were going to. Well, I think it was more like a fan casting type of thing. That the wrestler slash, I think he was from the Real World. Wrestler The Miz. I heard that he could have been a Johnny Cage, but I think that was more like a fan casting, like I said. So he was never like any official, I don't think. So a lot of people were thinking maybe he would be Johnny Cage, and I think it would be pretty cool with playing the character. I don't know if he's actually done any acting as far as like a scripted a show or movie. I don't know if he's done that, but either way, it doesn't seem like they're gonna go with him either. But here we go. So we have Karl Urban, who is playing Johnny Cage in the new Mortal Kombat movie, which I'm sure is gonna come out probably next year or the year after that. I don't think it'll be out this year at
So
all.
I still have time to watch the first one.
What, the Mortal Kombat 2021?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's still on HBO Max, I think, so you can probably still watch that. All right. Any other thoughts on Mortal Kombat or this report?
Well, this report kind of makes me want to watch the first movie just so I can see Carl Urban in action in 1 to 2 years, maybe.
Yeah. Now, actually, there is a report. So let me see what it's from. Now, I got this one from Game Rant, but it's in a lot of other trades out there. So I'm just gonna read a little part of it here. It says Mortal Kombat 2 will feature fan favorite character Johnny Cage. Now, Warner Brothers and New Line's sequel may have found someone to play the role of the boys star Carl Urban. The Mortal Kombat reboot starred Louis Tan as Cole Young, which is the character I mentioned earlier, an original character created for the film who seeks out fighters from the video games to help protect himself and his family from the villainous Sub-Zero. While Johnny Cage was not among the Mortal Kombat characters featured in the reboot, the film promised his inclusion in the sequel by ending with Cole Young heading to Los Angeles to seek the martial arts movie stars. So there we go. So Mortal Kombat 2 will have Johnny Cage, and it looks like it's going to be Carl Urban. All right, so we got that. So let's move on to the next topic. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about here is the Hot Toys announcement that came out a few days ago. All of these came out, or I'm sorry, were announced this week. So we have Groot. This is the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 version because Volume 2 it was Baby Groot, and the first uh, the first Guardians wasn't. I don't think it was that same exact Groot, and he looked a little different anyways as the adult version. So this is the one that they've announced this week, and let's see here. So we have this picture here. So this is the one that comes with the deluxe edition or deluxe version of the Hot Toy. So this is the more expensive one, and then it comes with all these other things here. So this is he's holding the little grenade thing or little bomb, and then you can see in one of the images that has the head and like the spider type tree legs or whatever. So when it comes to what's included in this particular Hot Toy, so I'm just going to read some of the things that's in there. So we have here movie accurate facial expressions and detailed tree texture, approximately 32.5 centimeters tall. A newly developed unique body with over 20 points of articulations. A realistic mossy look that imitates Groot's special physique feature. One interchangeable tree textured torso. 6 branching arms with bendable wire attached to the interchangeable tree textured torso. 6 pieces of interchangeable hands, including 1 pair of relaxed hands, 1 pair of weapon holding hands, 1 pair of fists. So there's a bunch of things that are included. Now this one that has, like I mentioned, this image that you see here with all the arms, with all the branches, which we see in the film, which was a good scene, by the way. This one is the deluxe version. So when it comes to, actually, when it comes to price, we're gonna get to that towards the end here. So that's the Groot Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 announcement. Matthew, what are your thoughts on this particular item?
Well, this is a really good looking figure, like especially with all the branches shooting shooting the guns and stuff. Like you said, that scene was one of my favorites from the movie, and that I'm honestly kind of interested in getting this hot toy.
Yeah, because they have the other Groots. Like I think they have the Baby Groot, and I don't know if they ever made the 2014 Groot hot toy, but this is the first one that they wanted to go with. So this is the first one because obviously there's other characters involved with Guardians of the Galaxy. They could have presented a new Star Lord or a new Rocket, especially since Rocket is more focused, or Guardians 3 is more focused on Rocket. And I'm sure they probably will. So they probably will introduce or announce other Guardians characters as Hot Toys. But this is the one that they first started with. Matthew, now I know that we have to be very selective, very picky as to what type of Hot Toys we would get. And the majority of the time, we're not going to get these Hot Toys, right?
Yes.
But does this one at all make you feel like you have to have this group?
Honestly, in a way, it probably would be like my third most wanted hot toy, and like the top 6 all feel kind of like I need to have them. But honestly, I'm really interested in this Groot.
Now, if you were to, let's say you have to choose between one Guardians of the Galaxy character. Now, granted, we haven't seen what the other ones are going to look like, and we're assuming they're going to announce other Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 Hot Toys. If you see the other ones the way that you imagine them to look, do you think you'll still go with this Groot, or you think you'll probably wait for like a Rocket or a Star Lord or whatever?
Well, with this film especially, they all kind of look, they're all wearing the same outfit for the most of the movie, so I think I would still go with the Groot.
Right. So Groot, yeah, because Groot doesn't have the costume or the outfit like you said, so it's kind of unique in that way, right? So yeah, that kind of makes sense there. So Groot, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was announced this week. So the other thing that they've announced this week that is not related to Marvel or Guardians is this Palpatine or Darth Sidious. So this is the Darth Sidious hot toy that was announced on May the 4th or May 4th. And from my understanding, last year, Hot Toys announced like 5 figures, 5 characters related to Star Wars on May the 4th. And a lot of the Hot Toy collectors and fans, they were a little disappointed with the announcements. And I mean, I mean, this Palpatine looks cool to me. I'm not sure if I'm gonna pick that up. Probably not. But um, this is the most exciting one that came out, at least in my opinion here. So that's a Darth Sidious. Now, this is the look here. So I totally see Ian McDermott here in
Yes.
this picture, and this is the other thing that was a bit of an issue with some of the collectors, some of the fans and stuff, that when it comes to this Palpatine, this Darth Sidious, it's from the Star Wars Clone Wars. And I know, Matthew, you've watched the cartoon,
Yes.
the show. I only watched the movie, and after the movie, I didn't. There was no way that I was going to watch the show, basically, because the movie was absolutely
Yeah, the movie's
horrible. It was complete trash,
horrible.
and it actually kind of deterred me from Star Wars for a
Oh
minute.
my god.
So it was that bad. But so I'm not that familiar with the scene here. Actually, I didn't get the image. I should have gotten the image with Darth Maul and Darth Sidious. Now, what do you know about this? At least this Darth Sidious and the scene that it looks like it's coming from the Clone Wars.
Well, this scene that it's from, the fight is probably the most. Well, I would say the second most iconic lightsaber fight from the Clone Wars. It might be the best one in my opinion, but like the scene it comes from, it's a really well chosen scene for the figure at least.
Do you have any idea if you'll be picking this one up?
Probably not.
Probably.
Probably,
Okay.
yeah.
So I mean, here are the things it comes with here. So, let me get to it here. Hold on a sec. Oh, where did it go? Okay, so this is the Darth Sidious one. Again, this is not the one from Return of the Jedi or the one from Revenge of the Sith, which I'm going to talk about that in just a bit here. Okay, so where is it here? Then I just grabbed it. Hold on a sec here. Okay, Matthew, so you said you're definitely not getting this, right?
I am for sure not getting it. It just wouldn't be like in my top 15
Okay.
Star Wars hot toys.
Let's see here. So we have one newly developed head sculpt with separate rolling eyeballs system, highly accurate facial expression and detailed skin texture on the face, body with over 30 points of articulation. It's approximately 24 centimeters tall, 8 pieces of interchangeable newly sculpted hands, including one pair of gesture hands with force lightning effects, one pair of lightsaber holding hands, one pair of relaxed hands, and 2 gesture hands. And of course, it comes with the costume, the brownish red colored hooded robe with navy cape and I think it's brooch. One black colored tunic with belt, one pair of black colored boots. So yeah, so this is a Palpatine again. This is the Darth Sidious one, and I mean it looks cool. It looks really cool to me. Normally I would want to get this, but I think that they might release a Revenge of the Sith Palpatine in 2025 or maybe 2024 next year for the anniversary of the movie. So in 2025, that will be the 20-year anniversary. And Hot Toys does like to release or at least announce characters from like an anniversary. Like they did a lot of the Return of the Jedi or a couple for Return of the Jedi last month related to the 40th anniversary of the movie. So since Revenge of the Sith is 2 years away, I would think that they would announce a Palpatine. Now, this is not official. This is not something that is for sure. But they might announce a Darth Sidious Palpatine for Revenge of the Sith. So that look would be different. So I think I would rather have that if it's kind of like the look that we're imagining, especially that scene with Mace Windu and Anakin. So hopefully they do something like that. So since these Hot Toys are expensive, I'm not picking this one up. Waiting, hopefully, to see if they make one for Revenge of the Sith. Any final thoughts on this Darth Sidious character or Hot Toy, Matthew?
I would also prefer a Revenge of the Sith one. I just think those robes are better. This one is kind of meant to like, I guess, parallel his dark robes. So.
Yeah, and then his face is gonna be like completely different, right? It's gonna be like just different. It's not he's not gonna look like that. All right, so there was an issue with the camera. Oh yeah, there's an issue with the camera. All right.
Wow.
Okay, so the next thing here is let's see. We have the Fox, the commander, the clone commander Fox. That was the other thing that they've announced. That was again on May the 4th. And then Matthew, what are your thoughts on this one here?
I think this is a stupid figure. Well, no one likes him in the fandom. No one likes him in universe either. So I just find it odd that they decided to give him a figure.
Okay, is that bad, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean,
he's an important character, I guess, but no one likes him. Like nobody likes him.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this character at all. Like I said, I didn't watch the Clone Wars, so at least the show. So yeah, they announced this, and I was like, I'm not getting this. I know that. Some of the things that it does come with, though, is we have a body with over 30 points of articulation, approximately 30.5 centimeters tall, 7 pieces of interchangeable gloved hands, including 1 pair of relaxed hands, 1 pair of hands for holding gun, 1 pair of gesture hands, and 1 open right hand. So I guess for people who are big fans of collecting the clones, because I know there's a lot of people who collect clone troopers and things like that. So maybe they'll be interested in getting this one. Again, this is from the Clone Wars. I'm not familiar with this particular character, so I think maybe that's why some of the hot toy collectors that I saw earlier this week, and they were saying that they were disappointed. Maybe that's why. Maybe they were disappointed that we're getting this version of Palpatine and not Revenge of the Sith, and then we're getting just this one little
this is also
clone Commander Fox trooper.
His worst look, because his Phase 2 look is a lot better looking. So
okay, all right. Okay, so now as far as the prices, I was going to go into the prices of this. So the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 Groot Deluxe Edition is $350. Expected to ship in April through September of 2024. The Palpatine one, we have priced $265. Expected to ship around April through September of 2024. And for those fans of the Fox Commander Trooper, we have price of $225. Expected to ship between April through September of 2024. So that's it for the Hot Toys discussion here. So we're going to talk a little bit about the spoilers, Guardians of the Galaxy review here. So let me actually try to fix the camera because there was an issue with it, as you can see here. So I'm gonna try to fix it real quick. So I'm gonna be right back. I'll put the little be right back page here in just a moment. I'm gonna try to fix this. Okay, so the shot's pretty bad. All right, so we're back here. We're back here, and I was trying to mess around with the camera here because it was looks like the battery died or something, but it was off. But now the shot is really really bad. So
Oh.
there you go. And I don't know what's going on there. Okay, so what was that?
You look,
I'm stuck there. Okay.
you're very surprising.
Wow. Okay. That is really having problems with this camera, huh? All right. Okay, so we're back, everyone. So we are back live here, and I guess I'm not going to be able to use the Canon camera right now. Okay, so we're doing the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 spoiler review, everyone. So again, this is a spoiler review. And like always, when we do these movie reviews, we try to do like positives or negatives, pros and cons, or whatever the case might be. So that's what we're gonna do here. Hold on a sec. I'm trying to find something here. Where did it go? Where is it? Okay, hold on a sec. Okay, so we're having some difficulties again here. I'm gonna put the beer back page again. All right, we're back again, everyone. Sorry about that. A lot of technical issues today for some reason. All right, so again, we're doing the spoiler review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And again, everyone, if you haven't seen this movie and you don't want to know any information about the movie, uh, then I don't recommend you watching this right now. But again, this is a spoiler review of the film. And let me see here. Oh, here it is. Here's the footage I was looking for. I just didn't have a little text on it. So we're doing pros and cons, the positives and negatives of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and there's a lot of good things in the movie, a lot of positive things. There's also quite a few negative things going on when it comes to this new film. The last film came out in 2017, and that took several years because of the issue with there was an issue with James Gunn, that he was fired, and then he went to DC, and then he worked on the Suicide Squad, and then at that point, or at least at one point, Disney hired him back so he can come back and do the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So it took several years for this new movie to come out. So now we're going to get into the spoiler review of the film. And like I said, there's positives and negatives, there's pros and cons for the movie here. So when it comes to, at least this is just my portion here of the positives, then we'll get to Matthew's in just a bit here. So when you get to the positives of this film, I think the main thing that everyone's going to get or pick up from this film is Rocket's a backstory. There's a lot of information that we didn't know about the character throughout the other two films and even the Avengers movies. When people ask him about like his backstory or whatever the case, he never wants to talk about it. So this film explores that very detailed, and it's a very sad and dark back history that Rocket has. And this is like the main thing, the very most positive thing when it comes to this movie. It is Rocket's backstory, and so that'll be like the main thing there. Some of the other things that I liked that are positive or as pro is the again related to Rocket's backstory is a relationship between Rocket and his friends. We have Lila. I think it was Lila.
Yes.
Floor, and then what was the walrus's name? Is
Teefs or something like that.
Teefs or something,
Yeah.
something like that. So those characters were written very very well, and you actually kind of feel their what happens to them. They really made a good moment with the Rocket and these characters, because Rocket is kind of like he's not very like emotional character, and in this movie here, in this portion of Rocket's backstory, you can see a lot of like his emotional stuff, and you can tell that in the other films he was more like protecting himself emotionally to not getting too connected to anyone. And now that we know what happened here, I think you kind of understand his like demeanor in the other Guardians of the Galaxy movies. And let's see here. We have, the chemistry between the all the Guardians. So all the Guardians of the Galaxy, the chemistry between them, it was very very good here, and there's just a lot of things going on between the characters, and you believe that they are like family now. And I mean, this was always the case even in Volume 1 and then Volume 2, but I think it's like more on in this new version of Guardians of the Galaxy. Matthew, what are some of your positives or pros of the movie?
I also enjoyed the whole rocket thing. It was a good majority of the film, and I liked all those scenes that included like him and his backstory, and we kind of saw like his first experience with like his obsession with like blasters and building things and stuff. So I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed Star Lord in this film. I haven't really been the biggest fan of him, but I thought he was written very well, especially with his like trauma with Gamora and everything. And I just thought he was cool in this movie, especially with that scene with him and Groot in the High Evolutionaries ship. I thought that was really cool.
Okay. Another thing that's I think a positive or pro for this movie is the relationship between Peter and Gamora. So, as we know, as we've learned in Avengers: Infinity War, Gamora is killed in that film, and she comes back in Endgame. But this is a different Gamora. This is a Gamora from the past. So this Gamora doesn't know about the Guardians of the Galaxy. This definitely doesn't know Peter Quill, Star Lord. So in this relationship between these two, it's quite interesting, because Peter's still trying to like convince Gamora, or at least to basically try to have her fall in love with him again, which I'm sure was a bit of a battle. I'm sure it wasn't easy for him to try to do that, but the fact that it ended the way it ended with these two characters, like you would expect the typical thing, Gamora. While you can tell that she definitely feels something for Peter at the end of Guardians Volume 3, she didn't stay with him. Like, she didn't actually go back with him, and then they're back to how they were, back in Volume 1, Volume 2. That's not the Gamora that will exist in Volume 3, and even at the end, she's still not the same one. So it's still a different Gamora, and they didn't stay together at the end. So I thought that was interesting that they didn't go the typical route. So that was good. So I liked that. That is definitely a good positive thing. And then another positive here, another pro, I would say, is the high evolutionary character. he was better than the first Guardians of the Galaxy villain. I don't even remember the name of the villain for Guardians.
Ronan the Accuser.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah,
Okay, so I think that character from the first volume was kind of weak. I didn't care too much for that character.
very weak.
So this character is a better villain than the first one. Um, I definitely felt hatred towards this character, especially with a lot of things that he does to Rocket and his friends and a bunch of other animals. So if a lot of you guys are a lot of animal lovers and stuff like that, you will definitely feel the hate towards this character. So he did a good job here portraying this villainous character, and I thought he was pretty good. Not the greatest of Marvel or at least character in the MCU, but I think he might be the best one of the Guardians villains because Ego was portrayed by Kurt Russell. He was pretty good. I think this one here, the High Evolutionary, is probably a better villain, but not by much. But I thought he was good, so I think he's a pro. He's a positive here. A lot of the action sequences in the movie in Guardians was pretty good, especially in the when they go to the High Evolutionaries ship, which kind of looked like an office building, but it actually was kind of like a ship in a way, while they're on that counter Earth planet. That's when we get that scene with Groot with all the arms. So that scene right there, that scene was pretty good, and there's a hallway scene towards the end. What are some of your favorite action sequences seen in this movie, Matthew?
That one shot action scene in the hallway, like you said.
Yeah, I think it was hallway.
I
Towards the
really
end.
liked that action scene. The action scenes towards the beginning of the film I didn't really like, but that action scene in the hallway definitely made up for it, and also the one with Groot and Star Lord, like I said, also enjoyed that one a lot.
Yeah, so those are some of the positive things. The music. So a lot of people have questions about the music. The soundtrack. You know, Guardians of the Galaxy is known for the soundtrack. You know, James Gunn includes all these 70s, 80s popular songs, and they added some here, some new ones here, some newer ones here, and they also work with the story, with the theme, with the tone of Guardians of the Galaxy. So the music was good in this one as well. Um, it definitely didn't miss a beat when it comes to the soundtrack, pun intended. So it was good. So the music was good in Volume 3. And let's see. So when it comes to, let's get to the negatives, the negative portion here. And I think you, Matthew, are going to agree with this.
Maybe.
So some of the negatives here are Adam Warlock. So he was definitely underused, underutilized in this movie. Now, I'm not a huge, or at least I'm not entirely like very familiar with Adam Warlock. But from my understanding of this, he was a pretty significant character in Marvel, and I believe he was very involved in the Infinity War
He
comic.
sure was.
And so when they mentioned Adam Warlock at the end of Volume 2 in the post credit scene, so there was some high expectations there from Adam Warlock. A lot of people were super excited about him. And then we learned that Will Poulter, who's the guy that you see on the screen right now, he was cast as Adam Warlock, who was also in the movie Detroit, and at one point was going to play Pennywise before Bill Skarsgård took over. So as far as his performance was fine in this movie. I don't think he was bad or anything, but that he didn't really do much in this movie as far as anything more than just ultimately he did shoot Rocket, which led to him almost dying. So it kind of like drove the plot of it, but that was the only thing that they really used him for. He was kind of like he was barely in the movie. I think he was just in a few scenes throughout. And then obviously at the end, it was important what he did, saving Star Lord or whatever. But I think they could have used a lot more of him. But ultimately, I think he was kind of a disappointment when it comes to this character, and it's a negative. It's a con when it comes to the points of this review here. And Matthew, your thoughts on Adam Warlock?
Oh, Adam Warlock was a joke in this movie. he was definitely underutilized, like you said. He also was drastically nerfed. Like he's basically supposed to be like a god almost, and he like you wouldn't be able to tell that with this movie. Like a lot of the times he's just like falling over. They just show him just so he can fall over again, and it's like haha funny, I guess.
Yeah, he seems to keeps falling, right?
Yeah.
Like he just lands somewhere and then falls. And
And I guess they like said that he got let out of his cocoon early or something, but they could have showed that in a different way other than just like in making him a joke.
yeah, like I said, I heard like very good things about the character, and like I said, a lot of people were excited about him, and he just showed up in here, and he just kind of like did something that was needed for the movie for the plot, but ultimately he was kind of underutilized and kind of disappointing. So hopefully they'll use him better in something else. If they make another Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 4, which I don't know if they are, because I know Disney and Bob Iger mentioned something about that they're not making fourth installments anymore. But they definitely set something up for a possible another Guardians movie, and even at the end, after the post credit scene, we see Star Lord will return. So who knows? But yeah, maybe they'll use Adam Warlock better in an Avengers movie. Maybe it's a possibility. Another negative, another con for this movie to me is a lot of the comedy didn't quite hit, um, especially compared to the other Guardians movies. Now, Volume 3 was written and directed by James Gunn again, but I feel that the comedy was not as good as the first two volumes. There was a couple scenes. There were a couple scenes definitely that were funny, that were good, that definitely hit the landing. But overall, when you compare it to the other volumes with the other Guardians, and even if you compare it to even like the Suicide Squad, the comedy was not as good in this film. So I'm gonna say it's a negative. What are your thoughts on that, Matthew?
Yeah, the comedy didn't really land. I feel like I laughed, but not at like scenes that were intentionally funny. So yeah, I thought comedy wise, definitely the weakest Guardians film. Just usually the jokes land, but not this time.
Okay. And then this might be the last negative thing that I have here. So many of the scenes, especially the third act, were very formulaic. So you have the last battle, and I kind of mentioned this, I think, in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I mentioned that the third act is kind of like formulaic. You have a bunch of little minions going after the heroes, and there's like a 10-15 minute scene of them just fighting them and going back and forth or whatever, and that's kind of what happens here again. And there's some other scenes throughout the movie too that were kind of like the same, a lot of formulaic moments in this movie, and so I think that was kind of a negative. That's a con there. Matthew, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I feel
Oh,
like yeah.
oh okay. Thought you had something. I thought you had something else to say.
The first like I really enjoyed the movie up until I saw the swarm of enemies, and that's when when I kind of like sat down and started thinking about the movie more. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the whole MCU third act thing with
So,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that was a negative thing, but overall, I would say that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was a better installment than the second Guardians, and it's mainly due to the sequences with Rocket. I think if it didn't have the Rocket scenes, the backstory, this movie definitely would have been. It would definitely suffered drastically. My grade would definitely be like probably 2 grades lower
Oh my god.
if we didn't have the rocket scene. The rocket scene definitely saved a lot of things. I will say that. So I don't think it's as good as Volume 1, but I think it might be better than Volume 2. So I'll say that when it comes to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. All right, so we're going to get to the grades. Now, Matthew, your grade that I have for you, I just got it from your review on Instagram, on social media. So here's a grade here. So we have, obviously on my side of the screen, it's a C. It's a grade B minus. I put a little asterisk there because I was going back and forth if I wanted to grade it like a C plus or a B minus. But after I did my list of like the pros and cons, the positives and the negatives, It's a B minus. I'll say see it if you haven't seen this movie yet. If you're a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, uh, I'm sure you'll still find a lot of good things out of it, or you may even like it more than I did. Um, People who are trying to get back to, like, if you were disappointed in the last few Marvel MCU movies, I don't necessarily think that this film is going to change things for you. So that's why I put the little asterisk there. But ultimately, it's a see it. I'll say it's a see it. Grade B minus. And then Matthew, I have you there as grade B based on your grade on
Yeah.
social media.
Yes.
So anything else you wanted to add pertaining to this?
Yeah, like you said, I also think it's more a well done MCU film than the more recent ones that have been a little disappointing and inconsistent.
Yeah. So that was our spoiler review of Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. Overall, not bad, not great. Uh, Better than Volume 2, but not as good as Volume 1. So it had its good moments, good scenes. The rocket scenes are the best part of the movie, and I think a lot of people will agree with that. So that's Guardians Volume 3. All right, and then earlier we talked about the Johnny Cage potential casting with Carl Urban, and then we talked about a few of Hot Toys announcements. So I think that's pretty much it. Matthews, anything last things that you wanted to add here?
Um, I feel like if you don't think about the movie and just go watch it, you'll have a very good time because I really enjoyed the movie until I thought about it. So, yeah.
So if you don't have any expectations,
Yeah.
basically, let me try the Canon camera. Let's see if I'm still there stuck. Oh, okay, so it's just dead. Okay, I don't know what's going on with
Wow.
the Canon camera. I just wanted to check, but yeah, so that's still done. All right, so let's see here. I think that's pretty much it.
Yes.
There was so definitely subscribe to the channel for future content, future giveaways, and things like that. Um, I am the plan is, or the point is, next weekend to do another stream, and I want to announce a new giveaway. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. The last two giveaways were video games. I don't think it's going to be a video game for this one, but I'm going to see if Matthew is able to play another trivia game and possibly unlock the next giveaway. Like I said, I'm not totally sure what it's going to be, but we'll find that out a little later, and then I'll give you guys details as to how it is that's going to work out, or when we do the stream and so forth. So thank you everyone for watching this stream today, whether you watched it live or after the fact. And thank you, Matthew, for being part of this latest episode of the Met Report.
Uh-huh.
And that'll conclude today's live stream today, everyone. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye.